Thank you all for coming to the summit of the humans. I am the expert of human sciences. Thank you very much for coming. I have found in this small book of years a reference to something called a celebrity election. And I was very curious if the expert of human vices might have something about this, because it sounds like something you might know about.
Well, I have heard reference to this orange man. I've heard that if you imbibe certain brown substances, it can turn one orange, and I believe I hypothesize that this orangeness made him a rare human, and everyone was very intrigued by him. Uh, I'm not sure what I don't know what I'm saying.
Well, I actually have something to go off of that, because I think I can go off of that as well. So, as the expert of human sciences, I am obviously an expert in evolution, and one of the most famous references of evolution were the Pokemans. And there was this very famous reference in within Pokemans that they were looking for shinies. So they were like literal like orange, shiniest, bronzish
Yes, he was looking for
Pokemans, which
bronze, shiny, red
exactly.
foam.
So I don't know if it has anything to do with this celebrity election, but I feel like
Uh,
this bronzing I think has something to go on.
Most
As the
definitely.
expert of human hobbies, it is very important that I point out that the collection of Pokemans was the primary economic activity of most of Earth for a long period of time. And that explains why people began to, um, instead of hosting elections, would just every 10 years would host a death match to figure out who would be famous for the next 10 years.
Mm.
Mm,
Actually,
that,
as the expert in human music, I was doing some research as well, and it wasn't quite a death match, but it was that people would put on these costumes. This is the way that they held elections. Everyone would wear these masks. They'd put on masks and sing while wearing masks
Oh, I've heard
on
of this.
stage. Yeah, often they'd look orange sometimes. I believe that was the Orange Man, his mask, Pokemon masks, and then other celebrities would then would watch that and elect the new leader
Ah,
every season or so. I believe that's
Yeah,
how
I have
what
I
worked.
have some insight into that, into the way the Orange Man became elected as well. Often, celebrities would be made by their association with certain food products, and in fact, it was the McDonald's and the Diet Pepsi.
yes, I was thinking
Uh,
of the Diet Pepsi
yes, the Diet
Pepsi.
Pepsi. He had a
and
Diet
the
Pepsi
Diet
button.
Coke cocaine.
Yes, there's a story that he once went to launch missiles at Russia or at China. Sorry, he was with Russia, and instead he hit the Diet Pepsi button, and they brought him Diet Pepsis. That made him very, very famous.
And he
And
achieved an even shinier bronze hue, making him
yes,
even more desirable. And
yeah, and I believe that is the how the election process worked, hitting certain buttons that bring you food. So
and as the
Yeah.
expert of human vices, I also think it's some form of gambling as well. Uh,
a celebrity election?
I absolutely people are gambling left and right
all right.
with the future of their nation.
So have we figured out what this is yet?
I don't know. Has the expert of human celebrations? I mean, celebration by itself is.
I had a totally different angle than everybody else, but I think that you probably are talking about the root cause of it and what had that why celebrity election became a household term was because the kids picked up that lingo, okay, and it became a cool teen, which is the youth name of a human, like a cool teen thing to
They're
do.
they're they're pupae stage.
Yes, this is yes, this is the puberty stage of human. And what they would do is they would do mock celebrity elections within their own school, okay? And they would elect the celebrity of the school, right? And then that person would be deemed for the 4 years or the year of their school that they were the celebrity of that school.
And they became the bronze. Yeah, exactly. They became the shiny. Yes.
And they would immortalize these people in this yearbook with special pages. And
Ah.
they would put things like most likely to be a celebrity. I mean, that was the clear, obvious one.
Yeah.
Oh, the celebrity election.
They would have the power. I was reading because the music at prom, they would do the prom theme.
Sorry, prom.
And they would get to their main power was choosing the music for prom.
Yep. That makes sense. And they would give them a crown and everything to show that they were celebrities. So I've seen reference to that. And then they would, of course, have these celebrations, which is what a prom is. So they would have these fancy
Prom? I believe it's pronounced prom.
I've seen the
I
butt
can never
dances
pronounce
of
human
prom.
words.
Big fan of the prom butt dances.
Let's just not forget that they were often rewarded with meats of McDonald's, which would widen them.
For butt dancing.
For thicker butt dancing.
The thick hams, so to speak. Yes. I think, has everyone had an opportunity to speak?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So I think the way that we will do this is everyone on this thing here, is it me, Heather, Chris, Tatiana, Jeb, Aaron? Does everyone see that order?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so just put up a number of fingers equal to the row there.
Well, you can.
Oh, wait!
also just
Never mind. Close the debate.
card.
That's right. Who won the debate?
You before you close the debate, we can click on the cards to vote, and then you close the debate, and then we see the votes.
Oh. Oops. Well, I gave Heather the... Oh, no. How do I undo? We need an undo button, Jeb.
I think you might need to do it because I'm trying to click on the names and it's not working.
Okay. Yeah, hold on.
So, just click 2 random words, and we'll pretend we're still in celebrity election.
Yeah.
And now everyone can click on the card privately of the person that they want to assign their vote to.
Where do we click on the name?
The card itself.
The card itself.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's not.
Oh, yep.
That's not working.
You can't vote on yourself. So it should highlight it with a white outline.
You might not be able to click on Ian either because you're the host. Is that true, or is it could be false?
No, you should be able to.
Okay.
I can.
Oh, now it's working.
Yeah, mine worked right away on this.
Oh yeah, I think actually because if 2 people click at the same time, it actually right now might
be a little, yeah.
So what do I do? Double click or like as soon as
You
it's
just
highlighted?
click it.
Yeah.
I just click again.
Yeah, just leave it highlighted, and then once everyone's decided kind of who they're voting for, then Ian can close the debate, and we get to see all.
So has everyone voted?
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, look at that! Tatiana wins.
Oh.
Hey.
For the butt dances.
So Tatiana, you won this round, and who would you like to award the bonus point?
I really liked your point on the shiny aspect.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of a tie between you and Aaron because I liked the Pipsy as well.
That was a good category because there were so many ways to go.
Oh yeah.
And Chrome, yeah, I liked a lot of it. I liked the high school angle.
How do we apply that point?
So I did it.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. So it'll say what's going on.
Yeah, Jeb, I think when we're voting, you just need like a little lock in button or something like lock me in.
Yep.
Yeah, because
Everybody to see who's voted or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
from playing a lot of online games with my friends, and I host a thing for a bunch of lawyers. They're always like, "Oh, I messed up. Can I read you my turn?" Like it happens like daily. So probably want that.
Instead of having like close the debate, I think just say, okay, everyone vote now, and then once everyone's votes are in,
then you can.
It just automatically shows all the votes.
And wherever it is, and if they didn't change it by then, that's on them. But they have the ability to change it. But,
Cool.
All right, so Heather, what would you like?
Let's see here. Just let you know which ones, right?
Yes.
I would like a spicy puppet.
And Jeb, can we not change the where found?
Oh, I think it might have. It actually just randomly selected the same one. I believe it's just picking from 10.
Oh, okay.
It does pick randomly every time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then it happened 3 times in a row.
Did it?
Yeah.
The last one said license plate for Carrot Pixel. It said
Oh,
license
did it? Okay.
Yeah. So just happened to get back to your book. Yep.
Spicy puppet.
The
And
spicy
I think we
puppet.
could put more different than 10 or whatever, but yeah, it just picks from among the 10 each time.
Mm.
Yeah, we're probably going to only have 10, but
So,
We'll
as
see.
the expert of human celebrations, I came across this interesting term called a spicy puppet. And you might think a celebrations person would know about this, but I did not. So it seemed like the type of thing possibly that Aaron, as a food expert, you might have come across something like this before.
yeah, it's true. There's a type of it's celebratory as well. It's a type of celebratory food item that happens when they celebrate the day of their I guess you call it birthing, or when they come out of their egg sacs. The humans are handed a
Their
type
larval stage.
of a food item that resembles their mothers, because the mothers in the human pupate must be separated and they must not see one another. However, the human worm would like to picture what the mother looks like. So a sort of an amalgam of the mother is made, sort of a puppet, but it's spiced appropriately for the pupate state, which makes it tasty for the child,
My God.
using mostly sugar and jalapeno, which is a jalapeno is a type of human bean.
So I actually have
Powder.
a completely different reference. I think this is actually alluding to what's called a sock puppet account, where there were a lot of mischievous people that would be involved in politics, and they would be known as the sock puppet. And so there were generic sock puppets, but then there were also spicy puppets. So that it was like the next level up, where, you know, like the sock puppets just went out and they said their thing. You know how we do, you know, we go out, we say the thing. But a spicy puppet is like the next level, where what is it? The television network that was it was based on a dog news, or was it cat news? Fox News, something like that. It's an animal with news. And they had lots of sock puppets that were actually spicy puppets that would rile up and make things hotter. You know, that's what they were going for.
Your research is very different from mine.
Yeah, very, very different. But that's my understanding as the expert of human politics.
One of the confusing things about studying these humans is the fact that they use the same words over and over again to mean the same thing. I mean, that really is very difficult, because, I mean, in our culture, a puppet is a recreation of a person that you used for comedic or pedological debate. But apparently the humans actually thought they were real, which is really, really difficult. And because they were such well-known cannibals, it turned out that these fake people were often covered in spices to prevent people from eating them. And it didn't work that often, as was the case with your dog news piece, where eventually it was all just actually spicy puppets, and they weren't. There was no actual real humans involved at all. It was just these homunculi that were covered in very, very spicy things to prevent them from being eaten, and no one wanted to eat them. No one.
A new theory for extinction. Okay.
Okay,
Very
nice.
It's possible. It's possible.
Yeah, I actually so one of the things as the expert in human arts now and not music, one of the highest art forms actually among humans was they would take what I think is called a pumpkin, and they would sort of stab it until it looked like a person. And that would be the representation of their loved ones or their friends. And it's well known in human culture. There's many references to this that the most sort of popular spice in the entire world was the pumpkin spice.
I can second that.
There was a spiced puppet. So they would do this annual celebrations, and the entire human race really would be looking after these pumpkins and stabbing them
And stabbing them.
human forms of their loved
I
ones.
mean, that does dovetail with all the information
Yeah.
I've gathered.
Yeah,
As the
Because they
expert
would
of human,
sometimes eat them,
Yeah.
not realizing that they weren't people.
that's true. As the expert of human food, I would second that this is also the pumpkin spicy puppet was actually a thing that was well loved and eaten often.
They would cook them from the inside with a small fire on the inside. It would slowly cook it until
Yes, and the light would come right out of his face.
Sounds very barbaric.
They were a barbaric people. Let me tell you, I was part of some of their celebrations. But they did.
Okay. Woo.
Tatiana, do you have anything to add? I'm
Well,
good. Yeah.
As the expert of human vices, I have a different milieu of research. So in my travels, I have seen the jalapeno or the pepper used to in human mating gradation scales. So I would assume that this spicy is not of the pumpkin spice, but of the hot and sexy variety. So I have also seen something called an e-girl on this like human avatar platform. So I would assume that these are spicy avatars that are cartoons that the humans would just throw money at constantly, even though they're simply avatars. So that would.
It fits very well into the politics as well. It's like the same thing on the dog news.
Knowing that it is not at all real.
All right. All right.
Alright. Are we ready to vote?
I voted.
Okay, we can vote. Oh, jeez. Okay.
Whew. Everyone good voting?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, clearly, Jeb.
I'm sorry. Chloe took them from the inside. I nearly peed.
I just you brought up pumpkin spice, and that was.
That was great.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
aspect of humanity.
Yeah. So many layers.
Oh. And so, Jeb, if there's a clear winner, just award them the points. The only time that you need to choose is when it's tied, and then the host
Yeah, you can do a message like the leader of that round or whatever as we
then breaks the tie.
That round and break the tie. Yeah, totally. Yeah, and then I would say for me the complimentary point. I think I was slightly inspired by the expert of human foods, so would award that point to Aaron.
Thank
All
you,
right.
Jeb.
Nice.
Whew. All right, Chris.
I like that this was found on a cowboy hat. Or I guess an image of it.
I'm not going to pick these. You're going to pick them from. The
Yes.
list.
Yes.
And I think you can make them like either way. I guess.
Yes.
But yeah, you can go either
'cause
direction.
The throw game, obviously, you could just
Mhm.
Good, because I very much want to discuss a conundrum that I have with the elevator squirrel. As a expert in human hobbies, I keep finding references to the elevator squirrel when I am doing research on haberdashery. And while I understand what both of these words mean, I have no context for what this has to do with headwear. And so I was wondering if the expert of human travel, because humans wore different kinds of, according to all of the books and games that I've seen, they wore very distinctive headwear to inform you where you were in the world.
So this, I believe this actually originated from a very faraway land that Earth was known as Midgard. It was the middle place. As you know, we came here. It was kind of in the middle of everything. So like they called it Midgard. They apparently knew that, even though they were not a spacefaring race. But obviously, you all know Thor, right? I mean, he's a buddy, right? I mean,
Sure.
yeah. The Asgards. They actually apparently visited the humans when they were alive, and you know that they're Yggdrasil, which that they call the network that we use to travel the stars. Obviously, they called it the World Tree or whatever. It's our network. It's how we get places. It's like whatever. It's the highway. The humans were told of this, but they had no way to understand it, and so the elevator squirrel came out of this. The squirrel was basically the way to get up and down. It was the thing that moved things. And so moved things up and down. So the humans considered themselves the nuts. And so the nuts went up and down via the elevator squirrel. So that's where it comes from.
Yeah, I think you're nuts. Because
Thank you. It's quite a compliment.
My understanding is completely different. As far as I know, there was this thing they called they had these things called food trucks or food cars, and there was also a thing called an elevator car. And basically what happened was when you entered in the vicinity of one of these cars, you were offered food on a stick. And one of the main delicacies of the humans was the squirrel, and I believe the popularity of the elevator squirrel happened specifically when the village of Portland came to be. These food cars were very, very popular. The elevator squirrel was one of the most popular dishes.
That is interesting because it does reference back to if squirrels were that human food stuff that you would buy from food cars, that also explains the human sport known as hot squirreling, which is about jumping off of tall places with boards strapped to you. So I mean that is a very interesting case.
See, in my excavations of the village of Portland, I didn't find a squirrely food, but a green plant, very prolifically distributed, and over time the humans would increase the concentration, the power, the stupefying effect of this plant until it reached its apex, which was a strain called the elevator squirrel. It would put you in a coma.
Yeah.
Another potential extinction vector.
I've heard of this before, and they would have this at the celebrations, which they called parties, and they would specifically have this thing called a slumber party. And what they would do is take elevator squirrel until they all fell asleep, usually all in the same room. And then they would up and eat a whole bunch of cereal. That was what they did. So I didn't realize what the elevator squirrel was until you've mentioned that, but yeah, that's what they did. So I can concur. That's what that is.
Expert of human technology, anything?
I mean, I think you're really overthinking this. I especially with these hats. I've seen pictures of these hats. I've seen many from the old. I believe it was the Friendster feeds. There were hats on all sorts of animals. A lot of cats. and dogs, foxes, squirrels. Cowboy hats, especially, were very popular. And they were basically just uniform hats because the humans would use these small animals as essentially like servants and sort of cheap labor. So this is just one of the standard hats that these elevator squirrels would wear because they would be needed to operate the elevators to make them go up and down. And while they were working, they'd of course be wearing their hats. It's very. So I've seen these hats before. I'm just in the Friendster feeds.
Makes sense.
All right. So are we good with the current debate?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So everyone, go ahead and lock in your votes. Lordy.
Tough.
Everyone good?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Good.
It puts them. They all put them to sleep. Though, Heather, I have to give props for leading that into slumber party. That was really good.
Yeah, that was good.
All of these animals have
favorite.
tiny hats.
Am I not allowed to vote for Chris? Was I not supposed to?
What?
No, I think you could have voted for Chris.
Okay. Just making sure. Like,
Yeah, I wasn't
who chooses the name? It doesn't matter. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So Tatiana, who do you want to award the follow-up point for?
Heather for our perfect synergy. That's my favorite part of this game is you can kind of piggyback off of people.
Well, I was ready to go a totally different angle than when you said that. I was like, to throw everything out there that I was gonna say. I'll say this now.
Wait, how is Heather 4 points up already?
Well, it should be because I accidentally gave her
The
points.
first game,
Yeah.
you accidentally gave me like all the
3
points.
points.
So yeah, that's an error.
Minus 3 to Heather there. So.
Yeah.
Okay. Tatiana. Oh wait, no. Is that Chris? No, it's Tatiana.
I just went.
Is it? I'm picking the two. Las
Yep.
Vegas Cemetery Lizard.
Cemetery lizard sounds pretty great.
Cemetery lizard.
Found on the Las Vegas sign, or found on a sign, I guess is what we were talking about, right?
Cemetery lizard. Okay. I'm just putting it on the stream overlay, so if I want to reference it again, it's people know. Like if it's on screen, it'll be like ah.
Yeah.
All right. Tatiana, whenever you're ready, hit it off.
Yeah, so I'm going to try to be as sensitive as I can. Las Vegas is one of the most beautiful places on the entire Midgard. And one of my favorites. So I believe that a cemetery lizard is a. I hate going first.
Well, the good thing is, Tatiana, you can.
You don't have to. You can throw it to
You don't have to
somebody
do anything. You
Yeah.
can just set it up and
That
tell
is
us you
very-
don't know
that's
what's
very
going
true.
on. Just pass it off.
I wanna throw
Pick
this
somebody.
one to
Pick somebody to throw the ball at.
to the expert of human sports.
Oh no.
Never mind.
You can change.
Cemetery. Yeah, I mean there were. So I do know from my research of Las Vegas, it was there were lots of sports and competitions. It was sort of the center. Think of like the the Coliseum, the sort of battle, death matches as you were talking about before. I don't have a lot of references to the cemetery lizard specifically, but I believe it's in reference to. So cemeteries are these sort of sports playing fields that humans would set up with all of these obstacles in the way. It's sort of carved stone obstacles, and I believe they had to sort of weave in and out of them. They were set up in rows and in these patterns, and they would try and weave in and out, and sort of sometimes kick a ball, which was very popular. Humans loved kicking balls. Oh my god! Give them a ball, they would kick it, So the cemetery lizard, I think, was sort of a proficient player on these sports playing fields that the humans would set up.
While I do agree that the cemetery field is correct, the problem is that our understanding of Las Vegas is completely wrong, because that is obviously in a proto tongue and it was actually Levigus, which means people that don't eat people.
I feel like you're getting like some unified world building here. I'm really enjoying.
And the people that don't eat people did kick balls. Your kicking balls is very important.
I loved it.
And the lizard was a thing that non-people eating people would eat.
Mm.
So the vegans would eat the lizards and kick the balls on the cemetery.
Mhm.
And that actually was a highly ritualized activity that people would do all over the world as they traveled about. So you would come to a new town, they would introduce you to the other people there, give you a ball, and then you would have to kick it through a field of stones, and then you would eat a lizard. It was very, very popular. It was very, very common.
Speaking of rituals,
Or they would eat you because they happened to be people that ate people.
so speaking of rituals, we all know that these humans were visited by another race of somewhat lizard-like terrestrial organisms, and they were very good at camouflage. And many of them were actually elevated to the level of leadership in human society. And whenever there were rituals such as this, the humans that were able to observe them often caught them in such places as the cemetery, doing trick shots or whatever the expert of human sports said. So there's this is obviously in relation directly to the cemetery lizards that the humans saw, but really we know who they are. They're kind of jerks.
I just got to say, you call yourselves experts. While everything you're saying is completely true, that is not what cemetery lizard, as seen on this Las Vegas sign, means. This may sound long and convoluted, but there was a specific lizard character that everyone loved. He was the Geeko lizard. And this lizard basically became so popular. And sadly, it was about ensuring that you did not die in a transportation vehicle. However, there were a lot of transportation vehicle deaths to humans, and they put the bodies in these places called cemeteries. But regardless, his legacy lived on, and they started a food franchise called Cemetery Lizard. Guys, it's just a fast food franchise.
Here's the thing, though. I've seen reference to that gecko. However, some of the humans, especially the non-vegas humans, would make a hobby of trying to eat as many gecko cemetery lizards as they could. So what they would do is they would get like a sack of lizards, okay, and maybe I think they came in 20 or 30 packs, and they would challenge each other to see who would be the cemetery lizard, right? So it also became like a badge of honor for a hobbyist to be I defeated the cemetery lizard. So then they became cemetery lizards themselves, and they kind of got a T-shirt that said that they defeated it, and their picture was put up on the wall at a place of honor. So this was definitely something that I've heard of, and I think that ties in a lot with what Aaron said. These
Well, the lizard sack is definitely a thing.
lizard sack, and they would eat a lot. Lizards were small, so they would eat a lot.
Could I get a
I've
10
nev-
piece,
I've definitely
10
seen
piece of
celebrity
crunchy
lizard.
lizards?
being the idea of being the cemetery lizard, that's definitely a title of honor for sure. As I said, with the the best sort of cemetery field navigators were known as cemetery lizards. So no, that's a very well known sort of the praise that you could give to a human is to call.
Yeah, those were actually the shiny ones.
Cemetery field navigators.
Yep.
All right, Tatiana, what do you think?
Well, I have to think that a cemetery lizard, given what we know about humans' cannibalistic tendencies, and knowing that a cemetery is a place where they would do trick shots and also lay their dead, I would think that a cemetery lizard was just a lizard that feeds on the corpses of humans, particularly imbibing their adrenal glands. So humans would go to these cemeteries and collect these lizards, feed on them for their performance-enhancing drug abilities.
Making the trick shots that much better.
Yeah, it
Tatiana, I just realized that you are the expert of human vices. I keep being like, man,
Where are you going?
talk about drugs.
I
love it.
like, there's kind of a strategy in
Very
swapping the
sciencey,
expertise.
I just decided to do it this time. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because you do kind of run out of angles. So I'm like, sex and drugs, sex and drugs.
There's also gambling, right?
Yeah, gambling, yeah.
Are we good to vote, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so. This is a tough. All right, I think that.
Everyone good?
Yep.
Wow.
Oh, a close one.
I changed it at the last minute to Jeb. I was going to give it to you, Ian, and then because I thought lizard people was a really great reference. But
Yeah.
sorry, navigating the cemeteries just bomb good.
Yeah, that was good.
All right, Jeb, who are you giving it to?
I'm gonna give that one to you, Ian.
Okay.
The secret lizard people.
That was a good angle.
All right, and Jeb?
Oh, I get to pick here. All right. I'm gonna go. All right. So yes, this was something that I've encountered in my research. On a license plate, a reference to a hot lottery, which I'm a little unsure. It'd be great to hear what you'll think about what that might reference. And I think probably the one I think would know the most about it would be. I'm gonna actually first turn it over to the expert of human foods.
Yeah.
I figure you might have something to.
Oh yeah. I've come across the hot lottery many times. Hot lottery was one of the main dishes of human consumption when they would celebrate their popularity and wealth as their lot in life. They would be given. Many of them would be born with a certain amount of popularity and wealth that they didn't necessarily earn, but they had won that birthing right, sort of in a lottery type fashion, and they would be served a huge plate of spaghetti on their 5th birthday, and also they would be handed checks, a lot of wealth, and a fund that they would put their trust in, which would be enhanced later in life, and opened up a lot more wealth and popularity. It's kind of there's no catch-up mechanic for anyone not having the hot lottery on their 5th birthday.
Yeah, Aaron, I've heard something similar to this, but I think it's a slightly different angle than you're taking. So, hot lottery is one of the pieces that was involved in a potluck. Okay, so there's a potluck. Luck and lottery kind of mean the same thing, actually. So what people would do is they would bring dishes to a celebration, and everybody would act like it's not a big deal. But then they would be really, really, really excited if they got the hot lottery prize, which was that their dish was the best dish of the night. And they would kind of get like an honorary title of being like the best person attending the party. So even though the party wasn't for them, many people competed to get the hot lottery.
Were these cannibal dishes?
I don't think it mattered if it was cannibal or not. I think it was dependent on the people at the party. But yeah, basically they would all compete in their dish bringing, and then the one that was the most popular dish would be the hot lottery.
Yeah, I mean the soluble fats of humans was in everything, right? Except for the lizard people who are vegan.
Right. That's why they're lizard.
Let me I feel like this is kind of going off the rails a little bit. I have a lesson in human irony that is momentous here. So, as expert of human religions, there was a fairly popular religion that was.
Aren't you politics?
No, I'm religions. I'm expert of
it is
human
there.
religion.
Yes.
Yeah, and so in the old United States, they were very very excited about this Bibli, and it's a book that was religious, but in it there were some weird numbers, and one guy, I think his name was like Joe Smith or something, gathered his followers together in a very small place, and they. He taught that only a certain number of people could get into the heavenly area. Everyone else would go to the hot place. And so this was known as the hot lottery. And ironically, I think it was like 256,000 people would make it to the good place. Everyone else would win the hot lottery. And I think the irony comes in is that it was the more mans that would get into heaven, and so it's you see the disconnect here. That it's obviously not the more mans. There were a lot more mans in the hot.
Mans.
Yeah, exactly. They should have been called the less mans.
The less men.
Yeah.
More man's hot place, less man's cold place.
It just doesn't make sense.
And I definitely have seen references to that because that religious belief they institutionalized in obviously as many cultures do in sport, and so they would recreate these hot lotteries. It was sort of a system of drawing very hot coals out of a bag, and if you got a hot coal, you'd burn your hand, and it was representative of going to the hot place. But it would be these big sort of competition about sort of like holding on to hot things. And they called those the hot lotteries. There was reference to the rituals that you're speaking of. So I've definitely heard a lot about that.
Of all the things that I've read, the most interesting to me ritualized version of the Mormons hot lottery was it was called the McDLT. Kept the hot side hot and the cold side cold. And depending on which one you got is how you were determined your future life. They were so I can't.
This gels with everything that I've said. Absolutely. The DLT is mostly spaghetti, but that is absolutely true, and human meat.
Human meat. It's just about whether or not you find yourself on the hot side or the cold side.
Does anyone else want to add anything to this debate?
No, I think we're good.
All right, let's vote. Everyone good?
I can't remember what anyone said. That's not true.
Okay, everyone good?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, Ian, you ran away with it. Love it.
More mans.
More man.
All right. Yeah, Chris, I'm giving that to you. Oops, I went the wrong way.
Straight face because I thought of McDLT.
Was that a real thing? I heard of that before. It was a real thing where they had
The McDLT?
What is a DLT?
It was a McDonald's burger that came in a double container.
I don't remember.
And on one side, it was the bun and the meat and the cheese. And on the other side was a bun with lettuce and tomato. Because it kept the hot side hot and the cold side cold. That is a real... I didn't make that. That's not a joke.
I found it.
I don't remember it.
I can't tell if he's like playing a game or.
It was from 1998.
A DLT?
McDLT.
What?
I don't know what the D was.
It's like it's for double?
No, it's for
Double, it wasn't a
McDonald's.
D. Yeah.
All right, Aaron, last round.
Okay.
All right.
McDonald's, MCDLT.
Who hasn't picked yet?
Aaron.
Yeah.
Whew.
Yeah, so I think we're going to talk about a luggage wing. And as opposed to starting off by talking about it myself, because the expert of human travel knows so much about part of that, I think I would like to hear from that expert firstly and foremostly.
I mean, you're right. I do know a lot about wings. Lou Gage was a human hero of epic proportions that was known for all times. He was a colossal man of dark skin, and he was impenetrable. He was often worshipped as a marvel of the ages. And Lou Gage did not have wings, but there is a really famous story of Lou Gage and Lou Gage's son, who built wings in order to fly to space. And then they both burned up in the ionosphere because humans were stupid. And the idea of this was, don't waste your life trying to keep the hot side hot and the cold side cold, because you will eventually be destroyed in solar annihilation. And that story was translated across almost all the languages of Earth.
So not a wing of the airport where they kept luggage.
Well, I mean,
No.
Yep.
Luke,
Nope.
Luke Cage was very well known.
Yeah, and
Very
like
well
I
known
mentioned,
human.
Their holy books were covered in, you know.
I am the expert of celebrations, but I dabble in the human languages. And there was, not only did they speak, most of the world spoke English, but there were so many dialects of that English that something like Lou Gage, like this, some other people might say it completely differently. So I think what ended up happening is some parts of the world were say luggage, and other people would say Lou Gage, and there was a confusion as to what was going on. So I have seen this spelled many different ways, actually, but in the Lou Gage version of this, they would be people would celebrate being a Lou Gage with wings as like a they would like put on these wings at a birthday party or a wedding or something of a big celebration to kind of talk about, taking flight and doing all of this. And they would literally go up and fly with like a jetpack, or they would maybe, a drone or something like that. I mean, it didn't always work out well for them, but they had a lot of fun doing it. And they would do these things to kind of emulate the Lou Gage. This was towards the demise of the planet, of course.
yes. And as the expert of human sciences, I have discovered in these yellow pages listings of experiments that the human scientists have done to replicate the power of the mythical Lou Gage. So towards the end, towards that cataclysmic event, there were screaming, flying death machines inspired by Lou Gage, torching human cities.
Wow.
Very interesting genetic work.
Yeah.
The Lou Gage wing. Okay.
Yeah, because I've definitely heard a lot about Louis Gage, was his full name, actually. Actually a very famous and prolific artist as well, which is one of his many talents. And humans would actually set up entire wings of, there were these buildings, there were these art galleries. Humans would actually stay in them overnight. Humans loved art. Like the big ones were like the Hampton Inn, the Hilton, these art galleries that the humans would stay in. There was an entire wing devoted to Louis Gage's work. Big sign, Lou Gage, and they would store a lot of his work was a lot of canvas work. Rectangles was his big sort of genre that he would work in, contemporary, but very universal. Every town would have a Lou Gage wing in their Hilton or Hampton Inn gallery.
Yeah, and just as the
take place at these art galleries, so I've heard of them.
Big celebration halls. Yeah, they loved art, loved sleeping next to art.
So one thing that was not quite known is that this was actually Lou Gage also invented a sport, and it was often played in the airport. You all have been to at least one of these before, and you've seen the tracks that kind of go along And so what Lou Gage invented was this a sport where you'd ride these paths along, trying to push large bags along to make sure that it got to the right person. And I mean, they made whole areas of airports just for this. I mean, it was the Lou Gage wing. I mean, that you'll find it in almost every airport.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's definitely true. But let's not forget the actual chicken wing that was dedicated at the death of Luke Gage when he in a fiery ball of flames after just being so awesome that he exploded. Still being, I think, at the demise of the humans.
Participating in the hot lottery, obviously.
Yeah,
I think it was a spicy puppet.
Yeah, definitely all related. But the wings, the Luke Gage wings, were adored by many, and became one of the most staple foods in on the Earth and globe.
All right. Does anyone else want to add to the conversation?
I think I'm good.
All right. Vote right now. Everyone good?
Yep.
Yeah, Chris. Yeah, that was.
Luke Cage.
Luke Gage.
And Tatiana, I didn't even see that it said Yellow Pages. I'm like, that's a strange pull. Like,
yeah, I forgot to mention that. And I was thinking the same thing. When
I would like to give
about
Jeb the bonus
Luke Gage,
point
I was like,
for
how was
Gage.
that found in the Yellow Pages? Was he advertising for?
All right, so we're giving it to Jeb.
Yes, for Lewis Gage.
I was between you guys.
Lewis, the complete and the full name.
Lewis Gage is very good.
All right, Jeb, you've won the game.
Yes.
Lewis Gage.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm gonna stop recording now. Oh my gosh.
I'm gonna super add. I'm